Here come y'all in the comments. Oh, Lego, this is from yesterday. Why didn't you make a video about it yesterday? Well, it's because we had already made a video about the Habs yesterday. I didn't want to go out there and overlap, double dip on the Canadiens content. I know some of y'all would be okay if I did that, but not everybody would be. So I was like, okay, this happened and this was a thing that everybody was talking about. We'll move it to tomorrow. How's that sound? Well, it's tomorrow today, and we are talking about the update that we had gotten on the Montreal Canadiens' best goal scorer on the team. It's a guy that everybody has been wanting to see receive a contract, and he is one of the most vivacious, bubbly, and fun personalities on the team. Let's go over onto two sources and go over the updates we have gotten regarding Canadian star forward Cole Caufield. Now, if you've been following the videos for the past little while, you kind of know my opinions about this entire idea already. That Caufield is a very talented player. Arguably, maybe definitely in some people's eyes, the most talented player on the team. The most talented goal scorer, he's definitely in that contention. The best potential, he is in that contention too. And when it comes to the way Caufield has been playing with the Canadiens ever since making his debut, he has been nothing short of exceeding all the expectations laid upon him. He can score, he can play make, he is always in the right place in the right time, he can one-time it, he can fire it on the rush, he can get the rebound goals, he can score it a variety of ways. And ever since being drafted at the 15th overall spot in 2019, Canadiens fans have had a ton of expectations for him, even though he is only 5'7", 5'8", even if he is a small guy. He's gone out there and shown tremendous value. Well, he does need a contract extension, and that's kind of why everybody has sort of been, I don't want to say panicking, that's the wrong word to use, but there's been an aura of unease that has clouded the Montreal Canadiens and its fans for a while now, since Cole Caufield came into this offseason without the contract. There was some Instagram live that he was doing with his dog, and people were saying, oh, if you're gonna come back to Montreal, pet the dog and all this stuff, and he didn't pet it, something like that. I don't really remember. I wasn't in the stream. But we did have ourselves a few updates when it comes to Caufield and the extension process, with the first one being from Tony Marinaro from yesterday. Take a look at this tweet made at 7 a.m. my time. Cole Caufield contract update. Yesterday I reported that I'm hearing that Cole Caufield's new contract with the Canadiens will not be more than Nick Suzuki's cap hit of $7.875 million a year. Today, I was just informed that talks are progressing and all signs are pointing towards a 7 or 8 year deal. Now, the first thing that came to my mind after seeing this tweet was something that was mentioned in a lot of the comment sections when this tweet was posted onto the Our Hockey subreddit and the Canadian subreddit, is that a lot of Canadiens fans seem to have this opinion about Tony Marinaro that says that he may or may not be one of the more reliable sources, and more people are leaning towards the may not be on that, but with that being said, Marinaro still does the Sick podcast. He does work for TVA Sports. He's on the radio on BPM. So he is a guy that is worth mentioning, in my opinion. He does have his voice in the media. And when it comes to a tweet like this, hearing that Caufield's AAV is going to be less than $7.875 million a year, and it's going to likely be a 7 or 8 year deal, that's a really good update. I mean, for me personally, I'd said this a few times in prior videos, but Cole Caufield's sample in the NHL is not great. He's had 3 years to play. Yes, he played in the postseason, went to the finals, etc., yes, but his overall games played number at the NHL level is only at 123, 143 if you include the playoff games, and he's got 53 goals and 84 total points in the regular season sample he has had. Even though he's been good, that's a sample that you could justifiably say, if a team is unwilling to give $64 million to a player who's put up that amount of points, then I could understand that. The thing is, Cole Caufield has not been healthy the entire time he has been in the National Hockey League, and as a result, his games played and his sample size suffers because of it. Not necessarily because he's a bad player, but because he just hasn't shown off that longevity just yet. Even this previous season, Sure, the points per game number is pretty good, 36 points, 46 games played, 26 goals, but at the end of the day, I could understand if an NHL team, or Kent Hughes, is a little bit wary to give $64 million on an 8x8 to a guy who only played half the season last year, and who had 36 points in the process. Again, the points per game is alright, but the guy only had 36 points. And that's the idea that I was trying to make in all the prior videos, but it's apparent, based off of the Marinaro tweet, that, hey, the Canadiens may not really care about the sample size. They may care about the talent, they care about the points per game, they care about what Caufield could be. And all those things align into a package that says that this is going to be a valuable asset. But having him at a lower cap hit than Nick Suzuki is a pretty big win. Why is that? Well, Suzuki is a center, Suzuki is the captain, Suzuki is already the de facto best player on the team. Caufield is like right behind him there, in my opinion. And for Suzuki to be getting the ceiling there on the Canadiens, it makes a lot of sense in my opinion. Sure, you have the Carey Prices that were getting big money too, and the Shea Webbers and the PK Subans before, but having Nick Suzuki now as your floor, or not your floor, your ceiling, excuse me, that sounds like a very good idea. Just having everybody underneath him. It's like a Nick Lidstrom strategy with the Wings back in the day. Hey, we're not going to give you this amount of money because no one makes more than Lidstrom. And for Caufield, being the guy that he is, I don't think he would have a problem with that. Now, of course, I don't know the guy personally, but just based off of what we're seeing as fans in the media, seeing how he treats his teammates in the videos that the Canadiens post, seems like a pretty alright dude. Furthermore, we also had ourselves another update from Darren Dreger regarding the idea of Caufield and the offer sheet. He said this on TSN 690 earlier the other day too. If anyone is foolish enough to offer sheet Cole Caufield, Montreal would match. It's flat out simple. They would match. And I haven't heard from one other team that there's even a veiled threat of an offer sheet going to the Canadiens' way. And that also maybe plays into a part that Caufield is not really the guy that's going to be able to get, let's say, a $9.5 million AAV deal. Like, if a team goes out there and offer sheets him something that he would be willing to sign, because you got to remember, in order for the offer sheet to work, the player has to sign it first. I don't think the Canadiens would be in a position to let him go under any circumstance unless a team goes out there and offer sheets him something crazy like $10.5 million a year. Like, it's just not possible that that's going to happen, and if the Canadiens do end up getting themselves an offer sheet, it's more likely going to be in a territory that they will have the capacity to match. Right? Does that kind of make sense? That's sort of what Dreger is saying here at his radio hit. So, all in all, it appears that everything is looking pretty good for Canadiens fans looking for a Cole Caufield contract anytime soon. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. What are your opinions about Cole Caufield and the contract extension process? What are your thoughts about how long this has been taking? What are your thoughts on the dollar amount? Less than Nick Suzuki, long-term deal, 7 or 8. What are your opinions about that? And do you think there's more of a risk attached to this that Caufield doesn't pan out versus the very real possibility that he does and makes his contract look like a steal? For Leon Draisaitl, that's the guy that kind of keeps on coming to my mind when I think about steal contracts. His $8.5 million AAV became a steal like 2 years right after he had signed it. He became a point-per-game player, and he was like, yeah, that's a good guy. Caufield, he's got an opportunity to do something similar, but how long is that going to take? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.